They what?
Kinsey, the missing raccoon.
They did?
Yeah, it's a big thing in the paper.
Oh, they found that raccoon.
Yeah, but he's letting them go because Kinsey has a family. Of babies.
Oh.
It's really exciting. It's an interesting story. It should be a book, a children's book. It'd be the best.
There have been a lot of people looking for that raccoon
Oh,
for a
yes.
long time.
Has it? I don't remember when I noticed the sign the first
Well,
time, but
it's in
might have
the
been a couple
paper.
months ago.
Yeah, because it was the ice storm.
Oh, gosh, was it that long?
Oh,
ago?
yeah.
Wow.
So,
How did they know it was the right raccoon? They all look about the same.
No, she was chipped.
Oh.
She was their pet. They had two that they traveled with and everything. Wow. And he had a, well, just read the paper. It's so exciting.
it is exciting. I'm happy to hear that, actually.
I was too. I'm happy that they have a big commune now and an abandoned house.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Sit comfortably. Think happy thoughts about raccoons.
mhm.
Anyway, if you need to stretch your legs out, do. If you want to sit up on blankets, you know that, by all means do. But close your eyes really gently and just rock forward and back a little bit with your breath. Just letting yourself very easily keep your spine long and just let yourself come forward and back just very quietly. Almost feel like you're rocking in a rocking chair, right? And just start to lengthen up from there, lengthening up through the top of your head. Let your hands release to a very comfortable place for your shoulders. And as your eyes are gently closed, feel the breath coming in and going out through your nose. Feeling the belly rise and expand as you inhale. And on your next exhale, bring your chin on down towards your chest. Let yourself bring your head forward as far as feels good for you. Just releasing there through the back of the neck. And then rising the head on back up. Let's tilt our head to the right ear towards the right shoulder. Now if you want to add your right arm coming up and over and just touch the outside, the left side of your head there, just pressing the head gently back into your hand a little bit. Not enough where you feel tense, but just easily feeling the head coming into your hand. And then we'll release the arm on down, head back up to center, and let's tilt the head the other way. So again, left ear towards the left shoulder. If you can bring that left arm over and just gently touch the outside of your head there on the right side and press your head really gently into your hand. Just enough to engage the side of the neck there. And then we'll release the hand and let the head come on, floating on back up to center. Arms on out beside us here now. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And let's inhale here at center. And on the exhale, twist to our right. So bring yourself around. Doesn't matter where you put your hands. Be really easy. Feel that twist in the middle of the back. And lengthen up through the back of your throat. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll move on back through center, but keep on going. Let yourself just reverse into the other direction. Coming into that twist now, feel the right sitting bone drawing down. Lengthen the back of neck and throat. Good. One more inhale. And on the exhale, let yourself come on back around into center. Let's bring our hands behind us and clasp them. And then let yourself, imagine you're leading with your chest to come forward into a little bit of a forward bend. Now you can go as far as you want. You might want to go like an inch or two. You might want to continue farther forward depending on how your back feels. Keep the back nice and long. Once you get as far as you think you want to go, see if you can hug your elbows just a little bit towards each other so you feel that sense of the chest going a little bit more forward. And then we're going to slowly come all the way back up to the top. And if we're cross-legged, we're going to switch the cross of our legs. So stretch your legs out if you need to in between tides. And take your time. Get yourself crossed the way you want, or get your legs the way you need, really. And then again, flex the feet. If you're cross-legged, feel the outside edges of your feet into the floor. And let's go ahead with that rocking. Exhaling our way forward and inhaling our way back up. So now really paying attention to feeling the exhales bring you forward and the inhales bring you back up. So moving with your own breath. The next time that you come upright again, let yourself stay there. Let's let our arms come out beside us and tilt our head to the right. And from there, just let yourself roll a little bit sideways through the spine. And then let your left hand trail up by your ribs, in front of your shoulder, and by your ear. And stretch into a nice long side stretch here. And you know if that bothers your shoulder, don't add the arm. Arm can stay down. One more breath. And now think about your belly drawing you all the way back up to the top, lowering that arm on down. And let's tilt the head the other way, left ear towards the left shoulder. Again, rolling a little sideways down through the spine, letting that right hand start to trail up the side of the body and by your shoulder, your ear. And then coming into really breathing into the right ribs here. Now again, when you think of heading up, think of your belly helping you get right on back up there to the top, releasing the arm on down beside us. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And we're going to unfold our arms and stretch our legs out here. So if you can, let your feet separate a little bit. And then go ahead and circle through your feet. Let your feet circle in one direction. They can go the same direction or opposite. And then we'll reverse. So letting yourself feel your ankles. And then shake out a little bit, just for fun. Bring one foot, it doesn't matter which one, up towards you. And then let yourself just give your foot a little easy, loving massage here, right? And that might mean, if your toes are cold, you might want to encircle your toes, or you might want to massage individually the toes a little bit, starting at the root and coming up through to middle of the toe all the way to the tips of the toes. Or you might want to use your thumbs to really come into the arches of your feet. You could play a little bit, whatever feels good. Just giving the foot a little bit of stimulation really there. And then we'll stop and we'll switch. So see how that one feels compared to the one you haven't touched. And it's always kind of a miraculous feeling to know that you've woken your foot up, right? So take your time coming to the other side, and again, just be mindful of how your own foot feels. If you find a place that feels like, wow, that's kind of sore, you might want to give it a little extra attention. Just let it feel really good to wake up through your toes, your arches, your heels. Granted, it always feels better when somebody else rubs your feet, but... And then we'll come on back and shake it out to most people. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees from here. So, you know, if you need a blanket underneath your knees, get one. Take your time, get your hands spread nice and wide. If your wrists are bothering you, you know, come to fists. Do what you need to do. Come to forearms if you need to. And then just start to move through your cat-cows. Take your time. You want to stay in cat or cow, do. So if you need to just stay in the pose for a breath or two without moving, you may decide you need to let the body have a little time. Good. So finish the one you're on or that you're moving into. Come back to more neutral spine. And then let's send our right foot behind us on the floor. Curl the toes under. So let yourself just feel the back of the right leg. Really get your calf, engage your belly a little bit. Think about floating that left knee a little bit off the floor, but keep your top of your left toes into the ground and push down in them. Put the knee on back down and then float your right leg up parallel to the floor if you can. And you're more than welcome to bring that left arm forward and come into balance if you want. Opposite arm and leg. Don't have to. And then we'll bring down the hand and bring down the knee and send our left foot back. So coming into opening the back of the left leg and really feeling the calf there. Engage the belly. And again, if you want to press a little more into the hands and lift the knee up a little bit, press into the top of the right toes there, you can. Bring that right knee back down, and then let's float the left leg up, more parallel to the floor so that you get the toes facing down, and you can reach that right arm forward if you choose. Good, and then we'll bring the hand and the knee back down. And from here, just go down to your forearms for a second. Go ahead and clasp your hands. Send your pinky fingers out and just press down into your forearms, but let your heart melt down a little bit. So you're pressing down into your forearms. You're letting your chest melt down towards the ground. Just enjoy. A little bit of a back bend there. Good. And then we'll come on back. We're going to bring our left foot forward, right foot back for a first lunge here. So, you know, if you like your blocks underneath your hands, have your blocks there. Take your time, get aligned. Really get that front knee aligned, no farther forward than your ankle. See if you can lift your left heel up and really feel that quad engaging there. And press your feet a little away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. And then go ahead and bring the heel back down. And we are going to switch legs. So however you choose to do that, coming into that lunge on the other side, really get that alignment. And then when you're ready, lift the right heel up if you can. And let yourself really feel the feet pressing away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer. Good. And then we'll lower the heel on back down. And let's step forward and come into standing forward bend. So as you come into your Uttanasana, be mindful. Take your time. Walk a little bit. Bend a knee at a time. Let yourself just kind of easily shift a little bit side to side. And then when you come back into center, let the knees bend as much as you need. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. And use whatever support you need. Under your hands, under your forearms. Just be mindful here as you allow yourself to release into your forward bend where you feel no sense of distress in your back at all, right? And just feel the breath coming in and going out fully and deeply. Feeling the ribs expanding as you inhale. One more nice full breath here. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees, rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here. So adjust however you need to. Get yourself set there, really stacking up so that you feel your feet in the floor. You're really based equally through your feet. Thighs start to engage upward so you get that pelvis very much aligned. Tailbone drops down. And just let yourself bring your gaze on out as though you're looking at the horizon, whether your eyes are open or closed. Let your face be soft. So if you feel a little bit of tension in your face and your jaw, see if you can just let your breath help you release it. And then we'll unfold our arms right down beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees. Come on forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back here. Doesn't matter where you put your hands. Think of the back of your head being in line with your spine. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So, ease your way into dog. Move how you need. Walk if you need to walk. Bend your knees if you need to bend your knees. Let yourself feel the hands equally into the mat, elbows hugging towards each other. So reaching back through your sitting bones. And if that's easier to do by bending your knees, let both the knees bend, right? We'll come on out towards plank. Strong plank here. Let yourself feel the belly engaging, reaching your sitting bones for your heels. We're going to lower down, and you can put your knees down first. You can come down however you choose, all the way to the floor. And let's come onto our forearms and do a little Sphinx pose. And let your palms face each other. Spread your fingers, and pinky fingers are on the ground, and thumbs are facing up. And you're just letting yourself bring your gaze there between your hands. Let it feel good. Feel like you're pressing gently down into the forearms. One more breath. And then come down and bring your hands back by your chest and press a little up into a cobra. Now you can go higher. If if it's easy for you to come into cobra, you like to press all the way up, by all means do. You can stay low. Give your body time to adjust. And then we're going to release to come back down. And we're going to make our way back to down dog from here. So you can come back through a half push-up or a full push-up. You can come back through hands and knees. And we will bring our right foot forward to come into lunge here. So if you need to put your left knee down to get there, do. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet underneath us. Go right to your breath. Support how you need, but let yourself feel those full, complete breaths in and out. Letting your inhales and exhales get closer to the same length, so you feel like they're pretty equal. It's fine to let your exhales get longer if that feels even better. And then we'll release our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees and rise on up to standing. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale our hands right up to the midline. Once they're up there, bend your elbows. Let your hands come to the top of the back of your head a little bit there. And then elbows are going to lift up a little bit. So Let yourself, make sure you're not curling your tailbone forward. Feel the tailbone reaching down towards between your heels, but your belly is engaged. You're really feeling the head coming into your hands a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then bring your gaze back forward. Stretch the arms out, back long overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips, coming into standing forward bend. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. And we'll step the left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's come on out to plank. Take a breath there. And then put your right knee down onto the mat and use the right foot like a kickstand and come into a little side plank variation. Bring your left hand up to your left hip as you roll that shoulder up. Now, you can bring the hand straight up from the shoulder. You can lift the left foot up off the floor if you want. Let yourself come into that little side plank variation, really lengthening out through the crown of the head. And then we'll bring the hand down, the foot down if it was up. We're going to switch legs. So bringing the left knee down and turning a little bit there to that kickstand position. Bringing your right hand to your right hip. And then again, you can stretch the right arm up. Now, whether you decide to lift the right foot up behind you, that's up to you. Lengthening out, feel the belly engaging, reach into that back inner heel. And then we're going to bring down the hand, bring down the knee, come back into plank, and walk a little bit in your plank. Bend a knee at a time. Nice and strong. And then from here, we'll lower down. So you can put your knees first, or you can go full push-up down. And let's come into that cobra again. So you can stay small, or you can press into the hands and rise up higher. That's totally up to you. Elbows hugging in towards the ribs, whether you're staying low or going higher. And then from here, we're going to make our way back into down dog. Good. And we will bring the left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll step into our standing forward bend. Go right to your breaths. If you're able to hold your elbows, do. And if you know that is way too much for your back, put support under your elbows, under your hands. Feel the weight of your head. Let your face go. Let it soften and really imagine your forehead smoothing out. And let's release again. Hands up to the hips. Bend our knees and rise on up. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Reversing, inhaling the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms. We're going to move with the breath. Next inhale, find a nice long back. And exhale, right foot back into lunge. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into that cobra of choice. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. Inhale into your cobra, and exhale back to down dog. Inhale, exhale left foot forward to lunge, and inhale, exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine, and we're going to walk into down dog. So take your time, coming on back into your downward facing dog pose. Be mindful, let it feel good. Move around, walk around if you need to. Wag your tail if you want to. Walk to the tops of the toes if you want to stretch out your feet a little bit. Good, and from here we'll bring the left foot forward. Have your blocks handy. And we're going to come on up into Warrior Two. So we're going to line up our heels. And really get aligned there with that left knee out over the center of your foot. Float your arms up, and then just right away, bring your right arm under your left. Give yourself a hug. So it can be a hug holding more to your armpits or over the tops of your shoulders, whatever feels good. Let your head just turn a little bit to look left and right. Just a little bit of movement there. And then go ahead and come back to center with your head. Decide if you want to do a little half eagle or eagle wrap with the arms. Or you can stay hugging. So, finding that alignment of that front knee, making sure it's coming out over the center of the foot. You might want to lift your right heel up a little bit. That'll position it well. And then bring that left heel down. We're going to unwind our arms and inhale them all the way out into our warrior two arms, reaching out through the fingertips, pressing the feet away from each other. Enjoy, really enjoy feeling that sense of the whole body in the pose. One more breath here. And now, bring your left hand or forearm down onto your thigh. Look at the floor, and then let your right arm swing down so that it's hanging and it's going back and forth, swinging. Really feel the weight of the arm. Let your shoulder release. Good. Now, we're going to swing that arm up in line with our right ear with the pinky down and the thumb up. Now start to press into your forearm there above your knee and open into your side angle from here. So let yourself come into that side angle, pressing down into the forearm or the hand. You can be up higher, you know that. And let yourself enjoy. Length through both sides of the body. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to turn to look at the floor, and we're going to come into lunge. So you may want to put your blocks under your hands. That's up to you. And from here, we're going to lower our right knee down to the mat. If you need a blanket under your knee, get one. And then from here, walk to the inside of your left foot with your hands either on the blocks or the floor. That depends on you. Which means your left toe is going to turn out slightly towards the corner of your mat. Now you can stay up high here, or you can go lower, right? You can come down to your forearms, get out of your hands. You can stack your blocks up if you want to be up even higher. So you don't have to go down that low, but you can. Press the top of the right toes into the mat. Let yourself enjoy feeling that engagement here now in the top of the front of the right hip, but really feel your left leg too. See it from here. You can just put your left hand up towards right above your left knee and twist just a little bit. Let yourself just turn to look to the left. Don't make it extreme. It'll kind of increase that stretch. And then come on back so that you come back into center here and both hands or arms are down. Good. And then from here, we're going to come up and shift back. So you'll want to bring your blocks and your hands now to either side of that front leg and shift our hips back to straighten our left leg out. We're coming into a hamstring stretch, so coming out over that left leg. Think about the middle of your body being right on the inside line of that left leg. So it's a forward bend, but how deeply you bend that right knee you're on, that's up to you. You can actually come more forward instead of shifting your hips back. Just open at the back of the leg there. Good, and if you want a little bit more, you can slide that left heel forward and come a little more towards a split, but you don't need to, right? That's if you want a little bit more. You've got total control. You've got your hands on the blocks to give you support. Good. And now we're going to bring that leg on back, bring both knees back under you, and come into a child's pose briefly. So let yourself release, bringing the arms soft overhead, and you know how far back you shift your hips is totally up to you. Once you're there, let yourself walk your hands to the right and come into as far as you want to go to the right, and then just stay and breathe. Breathe into that left side. Enjoy. And then walk back through center and we'll go to the left. And again, once you get as far as you want to go, stay and breathe into the right ribs. and then we'll come on back into center with the hands. Let your elbows soften. One more breath into your low back. And on your next inhale, come up to all fours. We're going to curl our toes under and come on back into downward facing dog pose. Now you are welcome to do vinyasas or kriyas, or you're welcome to do whatever you feel good to do, right? You can come out to plank. You can move through for a back bend if you choose. You can stay in your dog. You can put your knees down and rest. So just be mindful. Let yourself move how you need. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. And from here, we'll bring our right foot forward. We're headed up for that warrior two. So ease your way on up. Line up your heels. Get yourself aligned there with that front knee. Make sure it's going over the center of the foot, not going out beyond your toes. Left arm under the right to give that hug. And again, you kind of decide, do you want to hold lower? You want to hug yourself up over your shoulders. Let your head turn a little bit so you look right and left real easily. And then once you bring your head back into center, you can decide about wrapping into eagle wrap or half eagle or stay hugging. Whatever your shoulders let you do and what feels the most opening for you. Good, and then we'll bring our arms on down. And we're going to come into warrior two arms. Reaching out through the fingertips. Feel the feet pressing away from each other. Let your right heel float up a little bit, knowing that you've got that knee in line. Good. Heel back down. And now come on forward to bring your right forearm or hand to your thigh. Look at the ground and start to let that pendulum swing of the arm happen. So just back and forth. Feel the weight. Let the shoulder release. Good. We're going to bring that arm up into line with the ear. Pinky down, thumb up. And now really press into that right hand or forearm as you open into your side angle. So letting yourself really extend all the way out through the left side of the body. But you're also extended in the right side. You're not collapsing. Beautiful. One more breath. And now we're going to turn to look at the floor. We're going to come into lunge. So you might want your blocks under your hands. And to lower that back knee, you might want to get a blanket, right? So once you get there, let your hands come to the inside of your right foot, blocks or however you want to do it, and then turn your right toes a little bit towards that right corner of your mat. And then again, if you want to get out of your hands, you can stack your blocks up higher. If you stack two blocks up, you'll be up pretty high and you'll get out of your wrists at least. Or you can go lower. You know, if you feel better to go lower, you can bring your forearms all the way to the ground. And press into the top of the left toes back there. Really enjoy feeling that openness in the front of the left hip. Good. And then think about bringing your right hand up to just kind of above your knee and start to twist a little bit as you turn to look to the right. Take your time. Keep feeling the top of the left toes into the floor back there. And then we'll come on back down with the hand or the arm. And now we're going to work our way up so we can bring our hands to either side of that front foot. So you got to kind of adjust and then shift your hips back. And again, if you don't want to shift back too far, let yourself keep the knee bent just about 90 degrees if you need to and come over the leg from there. Or you can let your hips shift back if that feels okay to your knee, right? Everybody's different. Just let yourself feel the back of the right leg here. Feel the heel drawing down to the ground and draw it back towards you a little bit. Good. And you know it's optional to come forward with that front heel. So if you like heading into a little bit of a split, you can slide the heel forward. Again, you're using your arms to support you so that you're not going any deeper It feels good for you. Take your time. And then from there, we'll bring that right foot back. Come on back again into child's pose. And let yourself release there. Now, if you, in child's pose, are okay to bend your elbows and put your hands up on your upper back so that you release your triceps there, your shoulders, you can. If that's too much, don't do it. Breathe into the low back. And then we'll stretch our arms back. We're going to come up to all fours, and we're going to come on back into down dog. Now it's up to you. Again, you can do vinyasas or kriyas. You can stay in your dog. You can put your knees down and rest. You know, you can stay in your dog resting. Good. Take your time. Let it feel good, whatever you choose to do. Good. And then we're going to meet back in downward facing dog pose. Once we're in our dog, let our feet come a little closer together. We're going to lift our left leg up in the air behind us. Toes are facing down. Coming into three-legged dog, squaring the hips. Elbows hugging in a little bit, pressing equally back out of your hands. And then we're going to bring that left foot on forward. We're coming up for warrior one. So adjust your stance as you rise on up. Bring your hands to your heart. Take a peek at that left knee. Make sure you're really aligned there with the knee. And then bring your gaze on forward. Take your time here now. And then let your hands come apart so that just the tips of your middle fingers are touching and your palms are facing down. It's like you have your hands on a shelf right there in front of your chest, right? Try not to make it be too high so your shoulders lift down. Think, release. And then just open the arms out from there into a T position. Let yourself reach out through the fingertips. And then we'll turn our palms up and we're going to start to rise the arms and the gaze up into our warrior one. Now, you decide. Arms can stay wide. You can bring them closer together. Hands over your shoulders. If you'd rather clasp your hands, do. Just be easy. Let it feel really good. This openness through the front of the body. Release down the back of the body. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to lower our arms on down. And we're going to straighten that front leg out and turn for a wide-legged forward bend. So adjust your stance. And then come on forward. Grab blocks if you want. You know that. Hands can be on the floor or on the blocks. Once you get there, bend your right knee. Stay there for a breath. And then come back through center and bend your left knee and straighten your right knee and let yourself stay there for a breath. And then go back and forth at your own pace that way, right? So shifting a little bit, letting yourself just ease your way into the pose. Good. And then come on back into center and take your time. If you'd like to support yourself with blocks under their head, under your forearms, under your hands, whatever works, then use them. But come to a place where you can stay here to be with your breath. Nice, easy, deep, full breaths. Maybe let yourself count when you inhale. Think of reaching that same count when you exhale. Or a count or 2 or 3 or 4 farther on your exhales. One more nice, deep, full breath. And we are going to easily now make our way back to walk to that left foot, to come on back into lunge, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Again, do what feels good. You need to open your hips, open your hips. You need to let yourself release in any way or do your vinyasas or your kriyas, take your time. Let the body just kind of take over to do what it needs. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. We're going to bring our right leg up in the air behind us. Let yourself really feel like you're pressing equally back out of your hands. Three-legged dog, toes facing down, hips square. Good. And then we'll bring that right foot forward and through. And we're going to come on up for that warrior one. So again, take your time. Get yourself squared around with your shoulders. Let your hands come gently together in front of your chest. And just be mindful of feeling that back arch of that left foot lifting up so you're not rolling to the inside of that foot. And then let your palms come apart. And again, you're just touching the tips of your middle fingers together right there in front of your chest. Let your shoulders be soft. And we're going to open the arms, just unfold them out into that T position, reaching out through the fingertips. And from here, we'll rise the arms on up and let yourself just lift right at the base of your shoulder blades. Doesn't have to be a big movement, right? No kind of sinking into the low back. Belly is engaged, lengthening the top buttock muscles down towards your heel back there. One more breath. And then we'll lower our arms on down. And we're going to turn again sideways on our mat for a wide-legged forward bend. But this time, before you go forward, have your blocks there if you need them. But bring your hands behind you and clasp your hands. And then bend your knees and come on forward. Now you may want to stay pretty high, right? You might want to be parallel to the floor. Just stay right there in that kind of squat there with your knees bent, or you might want to keep folding forward. That's up to you. If your arms can come off your back, you can let them. That depends on your shoulders, of course. And then let your arms release on down. And walk over towards your right, whether you go all the way to the foot and hold on to the outside of the ankle, or maybe you want to stay on blocks up higher. A couple of breaths there. And then walk on back through center, and we're going to go to the left. So again, you can go as far over as you want. You can use your blocks. You can hold on to the outside of your ankle or foot, and then see if you can stay and breathe. Good, and then make your way back into center. And again, adjust how you need. If you feel like you want to play a little bit more before you come into being with your breath, go ahead. If you need to stretch out a little more in any way, do it. So that when you are able to come to either use support under your head or your forearms, or you feel like you'd rather just let your head hang and bring your hands towards between your feet or behind you, that's fine. So once you get set to be with your breath, really let your face be soft. Feel like you're receiving both your inhales and your exhales. Nice full deep breath. And then from here we are going to walk back over to that right foot to come on back into lunge. And back into downward facing dog pose. Your last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any. So if you want to come out to a plank, if you want to move into a back bend, if you don't do it. Rest if you need to. Good, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog pose from here. there, bend your knees deeply and think about whether you want to jump or walk your way up to your hands. You can glance up there, see how far it is, right? And then you can come forward with your feet, however you want to come on into your standing forward bend. Support if you need. Let yourself release there. Let your head maybe nod and shake a little bit, really feeling that weight of your head. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips, and we're going to rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So find your mountain pose. If you need to sway around a little bit, if you need to change a little bit about how your feet are, do. Just be mindful. Let yourself enjoy bringing the gaze, whether your eyes are opened or closed, on out. Feel the space all around you. Really imagine that the air around you is supporting you. Nice. And then we'll let our arms release on down beside us. And shake out a little bit. Move whatever you need to. We're going to bring our mats into a wall. So bringing the short edge of your mat on in. And let's get our blocks. And you know, we've got plenty of room today, so we're going to practice a little half moon. So if you'd rather use a whole wall behind you, go right ahead. We'll either do back foot to the wall here at first, or this one. So you can either do your entire back to the wall here, find yourself a spot. You don't have to be on your mat, obviously, and there's lots of empty walls today. So you can do that one. Or you can come into bringing your back foot to the wall and letting yourself set up there for your half moon so you can use the wall with that back foot, pressing your foot into the wall, and imagine you're drawing it up. So kind of pick, what do you feel like today, right? Take your time, and whatever leg you're on, just remember the top leg, that the foot's flexed, and toes are facing downward a little bit. So you don't want to feel like you're trying to over-open your hip, in other words. Good. Nice. Good. Now, if you haven't switched sides and you need to, go right ahead and go to the other side. Good alignment. Everybody's got their supporting leg right underneath them. That leg you're standing on, the foot's parallel to either the wall or the mat. And just enjoy. Opening up here into the hips. Beautiful. Nice. And then when you're ready, come on down. Let yourself, if you need to squat a little bit, do to release your hips. And let's try it again, okay? We'll do it a little briefer on each side. If you feel like, well, I'd like to try my whole just balancing, you can come away from the wall and start to practice a little bit on your balance in your pose, right? You can just let yourself, instead of having the foot there, not. Or if you did your back to the wall, you might want to put your foot to the wall this time, right? Or if you did your foot to the wall, you might decide you want to put your back to the wall. Do something a little bit different than what you just did, in other words. So you see if you can just play a second there. Good. Just make sure you do both sides. And then when you're ready, let yourself release. Again, if you like to squat, do. we're actually gonna head in towards child's pose. So if you feel like, well, I don't really wanna squat, I'd rather just put my feet back to the wall and come on into child's pose. Either one, whatever releases you the most. Take your time. Let yourself just release into the hips and the back, wherever feels good for you. Good. And now, stretch your arms out long overhead. And if you're okay, to come up onto your hands, all fours, curl your toes under and come into a down dog with your heels up the wall. So they're right up the baseboard, probably pretty close to the top, not all the way, maybe. Depends on your feet, right? You can stay here, you can lift a leg up the wall if you want, or not. Or if your wrists are bothering you, come down and go onto your forearms if you would rather. If you are working with lifting a leg up, just switch whenever you're ready to do both sides. Of course, come down and rest whenever you need to. If anyone wants to lift one leg up and kind of walk back towards the wall, you can come into kind of a split up the wall if you want to play with that. So take your time, rest when you need, okay? Come down and rest whenever you need. You can always go back up again. And if you do want to go up again, if you've been resting and you'd like to go up, maybe you'd rather go up to your forearms and do a little bit more if you were on your hands, you can go ahead and go up again or not. You can stay resting, whether you rest in child's pose or rest with your head up above your heart. Good. And we are going to slowly come around to sitting. So we're going to use our straps. So if they're a ways away from you, you might have to crawl your way over to get them. And we'll bring ourselves on in front with the legs and take those straps, take your legs out a little bit, and let's bring our strap onto the ball of our right foot, right in front of you here. So bringing the left foot in. Now you may decide you want to put it on the inside of your thigh. You may want to put it down more to your calf. And if your knee or your hip are bothering you, neither one of those, if they don't feel good, try some support. So you can be up higher, you can support the knee. Or if it's really not good, stretch your leg out, right? Don't put any undue pressure on a knee or a hip that are bothering you. And then look at that right foot there. Press into the strap with the ball of the foot. Now you can kind of pull with either hand and look at all the motion you have sideways with your ankle, right? You can really pull the pinky toe back. You can pull the big toe back towards you. So you want to be equal, right there, pushing equally into the base of the big toe mound and little toe mound. And the heel is drawn to the mat, drawing back towards you. So as you inhale into the length of your spine, keep that length when you bend your elbows and draw yourself forward a little bit. And literally, it might mean just a tiny little bit. Now, you can stay there. If it feels better to you to come out of the forward bend a little when you inhale, do. And you may gradually be able to bend the elbows a little more, walk the hands towards the foot a little more maybe, and bring yourself gradually a little bit farther forward. So think about a forward momentum, right? Not a downward momentum. It's almost like your chest leads you. Your back is still nice and long, right? So at the very end, I mean, if you are really a natural forward bender, it feels so good to you that you come pretty far forward, and you want to let your head hang at the end there, then do. But I'd say be really mindful, just don't push it. Let yourself go where you can. And then be with your breath. Really allowing yourself to watch your breath coming in and going out. One more breath. And now we're going to slowly make our way up. And from here, let your right hand draw the leg over to the right. Now you can hold on wherever you want. You can hold the strap like so that you're sitting more upright. But as you start to think of a side stretch here, reaching your right hand down towards your foot, bring your left hand to your left hip and roll your left shoulder up. Now if you want to bend that right elbow more, you can kind of bend it towards the inside of that right leg if you want. You can go really deeply into it. And you can decide if you want to put your left hand like on your ribs or possibly up behind your head, or maybe you want to stretch the arm long. And some of you might even want to reach the hand all the way down towards your foot, which is a very deep side stretch. So be where you can. Good. One more breath here. And now we're going to slowly bring ourselves up. Once you're up at the top, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. Let your strap go. Twist towards that bent side, bent leg side, and just release the left side of the body here. Let it feel really good. Good. One more breath. And then use your belly to bring you back into center. And go ahead and take that strap off of that foot as it comes back. We're going to switch. So putting that left foot in the strap, and again, finding it right across the ball of the foot there evenly, so that as you push into the strap, you're really feeling like you're equal there. And you're not letting the foot roll either way. Good. Get comfortable here. And you know, if when you come forward you feel a little bit of tweakiness, that's what happens to me sometimes. You might want to put a block under once if that happens, right? So inhale into the length of the spine, and then when you exhale, bending your elbows a little bit, letting yourself come forward. And again, you know, we're all different. It might feel better to come up a little bit when you inhale. Maybe come forward again when you exhale, or it might feel good to stay forward and inhale into the length of the spine, and then maybe you can draw yourself more forward. So again, we're all different. We're all built differently. Forward bends for some people are just really entirely like releasing, and for some it's just the opposite, right? So just be where you can. Let yourself be with your breath. Really enjoying feeling the breath coming in and going out. Good, so one more breath here. And now as you start to rise up, take your time. Again, we're going to open this leg out to the side. And how far you go, that's up to you too. You'll feel a stretch in your inner thigh there, sliding your left hand down. So again, you know, it depends on you how far you want to go. You can go all the way to the foot if you want. If you like to bend the elbow and get even deeper, you can. And you can just keep your right hand on your hip. If your shoulder feels like that's the best place for you to be, stay there. Or feeling your rib cage a little bit, just kind of exploring how your ribs feel there. Or of course, putting the hand up, like behind your head. Or even stretching the arm long. And again, that reaching for your toes is only if that feels good. And you don't need to worry about keeping your right sitting bone on the ground either. If it floats up a little bit, let it float up a little bit. Really focus on that side stretch. Good, so one more breath. And now we're gonna slowly come all the way up, and once you're at the top, let go of your strap, inhale, and on the exhale, we'll twist to the right. So coming around again to release that right side of the body. Just enjoy, feel the low belly gently drawing in. Good, one more breath. And then use your belly to bring you back around into center. And go ahead and take your strap off and put it off, we're done with it, to the side. Stretch your legs out. And now, let your knees bend and bring your blocks behind you here. See if you can. Now, everybody's shoulders are different, all right? So if you were to think about having your hands on the blocks, I like to hang my fingers off if I turn my hands this way. You might feel better to turn your hands that way because we're going to lift up, right? So for me, I feel better with the fingers facing the base of the mat, but a lot of people feel better with their hands turned the other way. But see if when you lift up, you can feel your triceps there. You're on a 4-footed table. You can look up if that's okay for your neck, or if your neck like really objects to that, look forward. You can bend your elbows a little bit if you want. Let yourself do a couple little tricep push-ups there. And it's a lot easier to do on the blocks than if you're on the floor. See if you can then just come and stay there for a breath. If it's bothering you, come down. And then we're going to release. Let ourselves come down. And take one hand and encircle the other wrist and open and close that hand. Release a little bit. Move through. Do both sides so you let your wrist go a little there. Good. Shake it out. And we are going to come down onto our backs on the floor. So take your time. As you come on down, bring your knees on in towards your chest. And then separate your knees and bring the soles of the feet towards each other into Baddha Konasana. Now you can hold your shins, your ankles. You can wrap your hands around your feet. You know, be mindful. Let it feel good. Send your tailbone down a little bit. Feel that natural curve in your low back. Let the inner thighs release, the hips, the low back release. Good, and then bring the knees on back to center and stretch your arms out beside you into T position. And now flex your feet. Feel the outside edges of your big toe mounds pressing together, okay? And as you exhale, bring your knees over towards the left, like they're coming towards your left elbow. And when you inhale, bring them back up into center. And now as you exhale, go the other way with the knees. It doesn't matter how far. And then inhale, bring them back up into center. So let yourself go side to side like that. If you start after doing this a couple of times, these little twists, if you start to want to add something, when you go to the left, let your right leg stretch long. You can even think of reaching your right foot towards your left hand, and then bend both the knees to come back into center again. So it's the top leg. If you go to the right, the left leg stretches out long, and then use your belly to bring you back into center. So think about it being not just working your legs, right? It is really, you're using your belly. Take your time. If you decide you've had enough of it, by all means, you can stop in a twist if you want to, or start to listen to what your body wants you to do, right? You may decide you want to put your feet on the floor and move your knees side to side. You might want to do something entirely different. Might even want to do a bridge pose, who knows? Bodies are all different. They crave different things. So just be mindful of letting yourself accept really where your body is right now and what you need to do to be more comfortable. I'm going to start to bring things around when people get ready for Shavasana but feel like they need support. So if the idea of some support, once you start to get ready, feels like a bolster under your knees sounds good. If you need a blanket, or under your head, or for cover, or anything. So, at home too, if you have trouble getting comfortable, use what you need for support. You know, if you have blankets, you can roll them up, you can put them underneath your knees. Just let yourself indulge the body to be able to really, really relax. And if you're on your back and that's just not working, it's fine to be on your side. It's fine to let yourself support however you need. And then as your eyes are gently closed, just receive your breaths in and out. When your mind starts to go off into thinking, it's okay. Just see if you can softly come back to your breath. Letting the waves of the breath help you find those little quiet places. And giving yourself these few minutes, allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. breath start to bring energy back to you. Gradually starting to move fingers and toes, hands and feet. Moving in when you're ready to letting your arms and legs do what they need to do. Take your time. If you need to stretch out long, do. If you need to draw your knees in. And of course, you're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to be on your side for a few breaths, you can let your knees be soft and maybe even use your arm as a pillow if you don't have a blanket there. And just rest, feeling cradled by the ground a little bit longer. When you do feel okay to rise up, you can stretch that top leg out, press your top hand in if you're on your side, and come up a little more easily to sit, however is comfortable for your hips. Stretch your legs out if you need to, cross your legs if that feels good, put a blanket underneath you if you want, or a bolster, right? But let your eyes gently close, feel that sense of being nice and open across your chest. Let your hands rest where it's comfortable. Enjoy the sense of your sitting bones reaching downward, the top of your head reaching up towards the ceiling. And on your next exhale, let your hands gently come to meet there in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.